broken.
It was very childish behavior. Something emotional and angry was Hadi's first impression of Sabah Farouk. Today he came to the office after a month. Almost the staff had left after condoling with the Shireen. "Why are you so worried?" He kept his hands under his chin and was lost in thought when Aziz talked. "My wife died only a month ago. My 2 little children are from my mother and you are asking. Why are you worried?" He felt bad after hearing what Aziz said. "I didn't mean it. Man, kids are too young. A caretaker has to be arranged for them, but for such small children, the heart cannot trust anyone." Shireen mother. After hearing about Shireen's death, he took his body to her home from the hospital. Although baby was also there, she left the baby, saying that this is your child, child of their enemies. They did not feel sorry for the one-day-old girl. "My maid brought her home again from there." "Why are you looking for caretaker? You did second marriage. Tell your wife to take care of your children for some time." "Shut up, bro." He got angry after listening to the advice. He remembered the day's meeting with Sabah. She walked out angrily for saying the wrong name, and he found out from the maid that Miss Sabah Farouk did not like children, so she had only seen them from a distance. She didn't even bother to go close and caress these children. Then he expected her to take care of the children. She is stepmother and the father of these children had hidden his first marriage with her. Even if she likes children, why she take care for them? This is what he told Aziz in short. Aziz did not understand what advice to give him. If Shireen were alive, what justification would you give for second marriage? But if she were? "I wish she didn't go." His and Shireen's family's enmity was very old. The old reasons were not known to the new generation, but from time to time reasons arose, due to which this family rivalry was updated. Both those families lived in Muzaffarabad in Kashmir. Both were high families of the city. Abundant properties, political influence and extensive business in many cities. Shireen and he knew each other from childhood, but then slowly when love came between them they didn't even know. Earlier they used to make fun of each other wherever they met. Then suddenly love stories started happening. Both knew it was a difficult task to convince the family. Earlier, Hadi had spoken at home and just by speaking, there was such a commotion that he was left speechless. Baba had said that it was impossible and Amma had said that she would forget that she had only one son but would never marry you with the daughter of enemies. You are only 22 years old now. They will not marry you at such a young age anyway. But if your stubbornness persists, then they will see any good girl and marry you, but there, no way. This was Amma's answer and Papa's answer was even more beautiful. If you are thinking that being the only son you will obey, then you are wrong. So don't even threaten suicide. Because you threatened me, I will give it to you in the end with my own hands, and if you have thought of leaving your wealth and property for this girl, let me tell you today, I will call the lawyer and divide the property among your mother, sister, and your nephews. I am giving it so that there will not be a property dispute tomorrow and your relationship with us will end. When I die, you will also miss my funeral. So, son, what is your decision now? Now what would he have decided after hearing so much? He just became silent and then there was no discussion about it in the house. After listening to the words of Hadi's family, Shireen lost their courage. She did not talk in her house. Then 6 months later, after the death of father, all the responsibility of the business fell on his head. Alma was also sick. Then API insisted and took him to Germany with her and he was left alone here, because of business. Alma and API kept saying that they should also come to them there, but to wind up such a vast business and then start again from scratch at a new place is difficult. He had decided to stay there but had to visit Alma once a month. Still, Shireen said her family members are getting her married elsewhere. He went to her house alone with his relation and, as expected, was expelled with much disrespect. Now the last way for them was court marriage. By doing the court marriage, the Shireen told the family as if they had pulled the ground from under their feet. Her brothers were ready to kill her, but her father called Hadi at the same time and sent his daughter away with her and broke all ties with her. He brought her to the hotel. Taking the new house, he took the citizens of the furnished house there. He did not think when he would tell his mother. During this time Mom had made 2 rounds of Pakistan and he was grateful that Shireen lived in a separate house. He had turned 25 and Alma was now looking for girls for him. He had once again called Shireen's name and Alma had said that father is dead, consider mother also dead, then go and arrange marriage with this girl. Then Shireen was about to become a mother and even if she wanted to, she could not share this with Alma. He just wanted her to go to Germany as soon as possible so that no acquaintance would get the news of her marriage. Alma stayed for a few days. Then her second child was about to be born when Alma and API came to Lahore and she was also invited there. When she reached there, she found out that her relationship had been fixed among the acquaintances of one of API's friends. Now he had to meet the girls. He continued to protest, Alma and API did not listen. Rather, close dates were set for marriage. There, the Shireen would repeatedly call that his health was bad. He was sometimes in Lahore and sometimes in Muzaffarabad. Alma and API had hurried after seeing his protest that he was still in love with the enemy's daughter, so they were doing their part. All his relatives had come to Lahore. A few days before the wedding, when his sister mother-in-law's accident was reported, they got her a flight for the day of the wedding, instead of a week later. Unwillingly, Alma and API had prepared the tickets for his wedding day. On Monday night, his patience was exhausted. He told Alma and API about his marriage and children. Alma's health deteriorated after hearing this. They had to be taken to the hospital. He was ashamed and bowed his head. This is what API had told all the relatives that at the time of the marriage of the only son, she was missing her husband due to which her BP shot up. He brought them home after recovering from the condition. Alma came home and started crying again. He repeatedly held their hands and apologized to them. She would shake Ladley's hand every time. The whole family is together. My son's marriage will stop. What kind of things will not happen? He has brought the enemy's daughter in marriage. Then Alma agreed on the condition that he should not tell anyone about the first marriage and that he should marry quietly, the rest of the matters would be dealt with later. He told API that the girl tell the people about his first marriage, but telling it at the right time would not only cause trouble for his family but also for the girl's family. Maybe there would be no marriage. There would be no special loss for the bridegroom, but the cancellation of the marriage a day before the wedding would cause a lot of difficulties for the girl. His sister did not tell anyone thinking about this. The wedding was scheduled for the day. After leaving, Alma and API started preparing to leave. He called the house and found out that the health of Shireen had deteriorated. She was taken to the hospital. He cancelled the Walima and took Saba to Muzaffarabad. On reaching here, it was found that she could not survive during the birth of the child. It was no less shocking that Shireen was taken away by his family. He was barely allowed to see the Shanaz. For him, as trouble after trouble had come. What was good about all this was that Sabah's family did not make any fuss. He did not think that they could be ignorant. How could he think this? Because his sister would not have told, then Sabah would have told her parents. Why would she hide it? But her family did not bother her, and this was a source of satisfaction for her. Both the children cried and carried the house on their heads. At first, she sat down. Then she got up and went to the children's room. As soon as he entered the room, her eyes went to the pictures on the wall in front of him. Baby complexion was turning red due to crying. She got angry with both the maids. What is the problem? Why are both of them crying? I don't know. They are not even drinking milk. Maybe they are missing their mother. Nazabu wanted him to sympathize with the children. So you two are not little girls, that small children are not being taken care of. You also have children. You don't know how to make a child shut up when he cries. Now their mother is no more, please give warmth to the children. Nazabai and Chakra were embarrassed to hear this. They did not expect such modesty from her madam. Then he stretched out her hand and took a hod from Chakra's hand. He started to cry more as he approached her. She took him and laid him on the bed in front of her and was checking him. Did you check his pamper? Changed an hour ago. So Lord Sahib is crying for the same reason. Change paper. His stomach will be upset, then he spoiled the pamper so quickly. Chakra went ahead and picked up Ahad and headed towards the washroom. The girl, who was silent for a few moments, was crying like this again. Sabah looked away, he was afraid of carrying such small children. After a while, Ahad had calmed down. The girl was crying. Nazabu was trying to entertain him by strolling here and there. Did you check his pamper too? What now? Pamper is not bad. Give it to me. She reached out and took the girl in his arms. Then laid him on the bed and checked the pamper, it was dry. There were children in her house, and the mother found out the reason for the crying children within minutes. She used to stop her crying. She also put her hand on her stomach in the mother's style, to see that there is no pain in the stomach. As soon as he caressed her belly, the baby's cry became intense. She has a stomach ache. Look, have you kept any medicine for stomach ache? She said without turning around. No, it is a strange house. There are small children, but they do not have small medicines. Send someone to the hospital. She is not even 40 days old, and this kind of treatment with her. Then he asked Nazabu to bring a paper chain and wrote the name of the drug on it. Now the girl was in his arms again. She was holding him at an angle that wasn't too long so as not to hurt her when she moved her. After a while, she was silent. What is his name? He asked. Yes, nothing has been placed yet. Sahib also calls the doll. He grew up from his sorrow, then he think. What did you say, Mrs. Begum? Nothing. Find out the medicine. Look at your father's actions. Not only I forgot it, you also forgot it. Now what kind of love is there that the world forgets? To tell you the truth, your family is sick. When he had such love for his wife, why did he spoil my life? Then Nazabu, and your grandmother calling me and asking if I am happy. Neither are girls whose husbands are lovers of someone else are happy. The goddesses of goodness from above began to apologize. Will their forgiveness bring peace back to my life? This would only make them sleep in peace, they were still worried about themselves. What are you looking at? The girl was looking at her worriedly. I am not as bad as I am? I also spoke to your relatives with distinction. I just told them yes, I am happy to leave my life. I don't even want to listen to them because they are like those people, selfish own family, the happiness and forgiveness of my family so that they can live in peace, otherwise they don't care about the abuse that happened to me. Then Nazabu came in with medicine. Hey, she was stopped crying. Yes, I told her that there is a film shooting going on here, and when the heroine picks up, the crying children shut up. And because here I, her stepmother, is the heroine, so she became silent as soon as she came to me. She answered so seriously that Nazabu was left speechless. She did not understand whether Madam was serious or joking. Then she thought it was a joke, so she started to live. Madam, you are very funny. Taking the medicine from her hand, she started giving it to the girl. Now my sarcasm will also join the fun. It's good. They will laugh at least. She mumbles. Now she started coming to the children often. He had a lot of sympathy for children because he thought they were like him. Their non-existence did not mean anything to anyone. The behavior of Shireen's family had been told to her by Nazabu and her mother-in-law, and Nand had not even once spoken about the children. Maybe they will ask Hadi. Hadi himself would go to the office in the morning and come back and spend some time in the room of these children and then stay in his own room. She noted for several days there was no one for the children. The maids used to peek in there from time to time, but there was no one with them. The maids go when they finish work. Often, after working, she went to her quarters because she had children of her own. Yes, at the same time, she used to hang out in the children's room. By the way, she did not come to this house for the sake of the children, she had also heard from them. Even though she didn't want to, she herself started coming to the children. She was still carrying the doll while Hadi sat on one side of the bed playing with the toys. Both children were getting weak. Ahad had seen in the picture, but when he saw the doll, she was healthy, but now she was weak. Those innocent children were alone even at night. One of maid used to walk half a circle at night. For the rest of the night, the baby wakes up crying for whatever reason. The employees' quarters were a little further away. She thought that maybe Hadi would wake up, but one night the sound of Ahad's crying continued for a long time. Finally, she could not be released from him. She got up on her own. Ahad fell down from the bed and was crying. She rolled over and went to him. He probably fell down in his sleep. He picked it up and immediately wiped her tears and hugged him. The cute baby was scared. "I have come." Putting it on himself, kissing his head. But he again calling Mama. For the first time, Sabah truly understood the loss of these children. It softened further. Ahmed, who was less than a year and a half old, was being pushed into her again and again while walking, and he was clinging to her while calling her mother. Sabah was blowing after reciting Ayat al-Kursi and Kal. After some time he fell asleep. She carefully laid her on the bed. One look at the doll placed on the other side of the bed was sleeping happily, without any concern. Sabah also recited Ayat al-Kursi and blew on her. Then she carefully closed the door and came out. She was angry with Hadi. He was a very careless person. Who leaves such small children alone? If he could not sleep by himself, he would tell a maid. Otherwise, he would arrange a new job for the children. He was full of anger. She stood up. Knocked, but no sound came from inside. Then he turned around. The door was not locked. She walked in. He was sleeping on the front bed. They reached his head. "Mr. Hadi." But he didn't miss the toss. She raised his voice.